and watch Matthew Tickal do battle against Miracles. So here we go. So Miracles v. Charlotte Sultai. We'll take a look at the board here as Miracles is currently up a game. And this is actually a pretty difficult matchup here, I think, for Charlotte Sultai.
Well, it can cut both ways. You aren't vulnerable to the lock because you have a bunch of copies of Abrupt Decay, so it's rare that you lose games to counterbalance. On the other side, the game goes on for a long time, and in games like that, Sensei's Divine Top can be a dominant part of it, and there's no analog really in the Charlotte Sultai deck for how powerful that card is for the Miracles player.
You see here for Tianyi Zhao, just a bunch of lands on the battlefield. Colors don't appear to be an issue here for Tickal. He's only got 5 lands out there. One of them is a Creeping Tar Pit, but Tickal has quite a few cards in hand. Charlotte's Agent, Brainstorm, all that stuff, but he's just going to continue to keep attacking. Maybe sensing a little bit of weakness here. Pass that turn back. Zhao is at 3.
It's not like this deck is flush with a lot of answers to Creeping Tar Pit.
There's Blood Moon.
That qualifies.
Yes, it does.
And Tickal's hand here, he does have Abrupt Decay, but he doesn't have the mana available. Wow.
He may have just gotten flat locked out of the game.
I think Tickal might just be... No, there's a swamp and a forest in the deck. Not a flat lock, but this is bad news.
Yes.
And he does have the swamp in play.
Well, there's just a land, pass the turn back. He's got plenty of answers to the card in hand, just can't cast them. Oh, there's another land, pass it back. Brainstorm the draw here for Zhao. Time to peel 3. Swords among them. 2 cards going back. There's a Sensei's Divine Top off a Mountain Caracas. And Tickal's going to do a lot of draw go here. Got to find that forest. Gonna spin the top Wear Tear, couple of lands. For Zhao, Wear Tear will be the draw. Gonna spin top again, can use the Scalding Tarn for mana. And now it's gonna draw a card. Counterbalance. Top on top of the deck. Pass the turn back. Tickal, looking for that basic forest. That's not it. Verdant Catacombs pass. Yeah, spun a top that wasn't in play. Which was a little bit awkward. Used top to draw a card, which is counterbalance, placed top back on top of the deck.
Yep, and you know that the top 3 cards were already known.
Yep. So we will end up seeing what the penalty is here. Yeah, because these top 3 cards are known. Yes. One of them's top, the other 2 clearly we're seeing.
The other 2, yep. I think Wear Tear in a land or something along those lines. Yeah.
So when we do have a ruling on how they're going to adjudicate this situation, we will let you guys know. Tell the judge to tell us what the ruling is. If you with us, please. And a warning has been issued. Now there is a top. Now free to spin. Ooh, the forest.
There it is.
He can play again now. He's got plenty of Abrupt Decays to cast.
But now Zhao's had a lot of draw steps to potentially find an answer to the
Tar Pit.
Yep.
Yep.
Of course, this is good news. Tickal gets to play Magic again.
Yeah, it can't be bad news. There's Abrupt Decay. You can spin that top all you want. That thing's not getting countered. There goes the Blood Moon. Doesn't look ready to go to the Creeping Tar Pit just yet, though. Tickal's been so aggressive with the Tar Pit earlier in the game when we joined.
Yeah, Tickal has, you know, the option here of, say, Abrupt Decay on the counterbalance, and then just casting stuff like Hymn to Torak and what have you. He also may want to leave an Abrupt Decay in the chamber in the event that Zhao has another Blood Moon ready. So what Tickal does with this last Abrupt Decay, because I do believe it's his last copy in hand.
He has that and a Maelstrom Pulse. Abrupt Decay, the better of the two, of course. Uncounterable and all that jazz.
No guarantee that Maelstrom Pulse works.
Yeah. A lot to think about here for Matthew. Number 18 on our Season 4 leaderboard.
It's also possible right now that firing up the tar pit and attacking is a kill. That's in the equation
very
too.
possible. Here's a him. Wear Tear going to be revealed, so that'll counter him. And he used Tar Pit to cast the him, so he's not getting in with that. See, Notion Thief has been brought in from the sideboard. We'll see what's next here for Tickal. He's got another Tar Pit down there. Okay. Yep, here comes the attack. Pyroblast. It is a blue creature.
Yep, that works.
Yep. Spin the top. Looks like Flooded Strand's going on top now. Pass the turn back. Top counterbalance assembled, but got to get through another Tar Pit. Thought sees the draw here for Tickal. You see the power of Tar Pit in a matchup like this. Here's Abrupt Decay. It's going to take care of counterbalance. Now Thought sees. Wants to clear the path for the Tar Pit.
And there's still the mystery of what is going on with the Divining Top.
Source of Plowshares selected. And now, in comes the Tar Pit for lethal. First gonna spin the top, see if the third card down helps. Yeah, that island's in hand from the Thoughtseize. Gonna crack the Flooded Strand. Looks like Wasteland's going to go after this fetch land with that on the stack. Maybe not. Basic Plains will be found from Flooded Strand. Time to spin the top. A Ponder, Flooded Strand. All right. Red Elemental Blast.
We play on.
We do play on. And answer to the Tar Pit again. That is pretty huge. And Tickal is tapped out. He might use the Flooded Strand, or excuse me, the Wasteland now.
Yeah, this is good timing because now Zhao has to choose between just getting strip mined or losing the top.
Yep.
Top way too valuable right now to give up.
He's going to play top, pass the turn back. Tickal will draw. I believe he picked up a copy of Life from the Loam. It's actually not bad. Get those Tar Pits back.
Yeah, that's great in this spot. I was about to say Zhao's mana is not that Wasteland sensitive right now, but just getting back the Tar Pits and trying again is a good way to go about doing this.
It's a different use for the card. Normally you see him try to establish a Wasteland lock, but that's not what this game's about at all. So here is a Life from the Loam. Went through all that work to get the Tar Pits off the battlefield, and now they're back. They might be. Gonna spin top for now. Wear Tear among the options, but Loam is gonna resolve. Tar Pits to land for the turn. No, I think we might see Shardless Agent.
And I think getting a 2/2 into play is actually quite important here. It is nice for Tickal to get into a spot where there's multiple angles of attack. What you don't want to have happen is Zhao is somehow able to assemble Blood Moon with a counter spell, and you're just locked out of the game from nowhere. So at least if Zhao sets that up, Zhao also has to answer the Shardless Agent in play. And now, I believe Tickal has also found Abrupt Decay off of that Brainstorm, meaning I don't know if there's a way for Zhao to get out of this.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rough road ahead here. We're going to spin top one more time. I think we're going to have a Ponder here. Ponder will net a shuffle at least. There might be some crazy combination of cards. I'm going to draw a card, pick up a copy of Wear Tear. Now play Ponder. Immediately shuffling. So mystery card coming. Unclear how helpful it can be. Some sort of weird loop of maybe running like a top into a terminus or something. Some crazy stuff would have to happen.
Well, from Zhao's perspective, you have a Wear Tear to answer the Shardless Agent. You find an answer for a Creeping Tar Pit, and you're playing on. Given the quality of Tickal's hand, I don't think that's really the case. But from where Zhao's sitting, it seems like that's a possibility.
To counterbalance, pass the turn back over to Tickal. Tickal will draw. Going to Dredge Loam. Might be time to fire up the old Tar Pit here. Going to start with Life from the Loam. Counterbalance is going to counter that, revealing Snapcaster Mage. Here's a discard spell. Thoughtseize, clear the path. And nothing doing over there, so Zhao's going to concede the game. Matthew Tickal's going to win game number 2. Shard the Sultai Miracle's getting ready here for game number 3, but not a lot of time left to do it in, so maybe we're working our way into draw territory.
Seems likely. Surprising with the number of Wear Terrors that Zhao showed that game. Not really a ton of targets in Tickal's deck, except for things that just generate value on the way in, like Shardless Agent and Baleful Strix.
Well, there are 2 Wear Tears in the deck. You know, maybe it was just a situation where we just kept shuffling into them, honestly. Maybe only brought in 1. It's unclear at this point. It felt like it showed up a lot.
Yeah.
I can't argue that. It felt like it was there a lot. As far as sideboards are concerned here for each player, we'll take a look at Miracles first. We got 2 Flusterstorms, 2 Wear Tears, and a bunch of 1-ofs here in Pyroblast, Containment, Pre-Surgical Extraction, Monastery Mentor, Engineered Explosives, Pithing Needle, Rest in Peace, Ethersworn Canonist, Blood Moon, Izzet Caster, and Meddling Mage.
Well, we saw the 2 copies of Wear Tear. Blood Moon is, of course, excellent. Tickal got pretty fortunate that game to be able to break out a Blood Moon Walk, just drawing the 1 for us. But if his shields are down, that card's going to be good, game over a good percentage of the time. Beyond that, I think there's some okay cards here. I think the Engineered Explosive is fine. Monastery Mentor is fine. Flusterstorm, Pyroblast, these are all okay cards, but nothing in the sideboard here is as powerful as the 1 Blood Moon.
What do we see on the other side of things?
Tickal's got a Life from the Loam, a Thoughtseize, a Vendilion Click, a Notion Thief, a Force of Will, Wasteland, Gravedigger's Cage, Nile Spellbomb, Disfigure, Pithy Needle, Golgari Charm, Scrubland, Null Rod, and 2 copies of Meddling Mage. I think you want some of the anti-artifact measures for this matchup, like Pithy Needle or Null Rod, to answer Sensei's Divining Top. And I think the Vendilion Click, Thoughtseize, Notion Thief, Life from the Loam, even the Wasteland here are all good cards for Tickal.
You got your options there for both players. They're going to shuffle up very quickly. In the meantime, we're talking about the Fall Creature Collection here with Star City Games. That means we're talking playmats, sleeves, and player bundles of some of our game night favorites.
Exactly. You see all the fall creature collection here, the hippo, the otter, the reindeer, and penguillian click, all available. Playmats, sleeves, and player bundles over at starcgames.com/creature collection or at our dealer booth at any of our opens or any Grand Prix that we're at.
Tom Ross checking in on social media. He did win his match this round, so he is at 10-1 now. Perhaps we're going to have a Tom Ross, Eric Hawkins matchup here soon.
It'll be over fast.
It will not take long, that's for sure. Tom beating a Sultai deck last round. These players, I think, are going to be playing pretty fast. The Scalding Tarn is where Zhao will start things. To Trop. And Ancestral Visions on suspend. Zhao will draw. Copy of Sensei's Divining Top.
Here's Zhao has gone to the one copy of Rest in Peace in the sideboard as well.
Sure. Death Rites and Tarmogoyfs makes sense.
Also
Life from Loam, too.
Showed Loam in the last game.
Yeah. I expected Rest in Peace to be a little more popular this weekend.
We've seen very little of it, although we haven't seen a whole lot in terms of base white decks. We've
Very
seen
true.
a lot of Sultai. We've seen a lot of combo decks that aren't in the market for something like Rest in Peace.
Island here for Zhao. I think we'll have a Sensei's Divining Top in just a second. And we do. Vision's down to 3 here for Tickal. He'll take a draw step. Land number 2 is a Polluted Delta. He'll sacrifice that. I think we'll have some black mana on the way, potentially for a Thoughtseize here.
Wouldn't surprise me here if Tickal just got the swamp. Already has the forest in hand.
Sure.
So now Blood Moon's not an issue.
Rest in Peace, Terminus, Counterbalance ×2, and a Source of Plowshares. See Tickal's hand. He's got a Deathrite Shaman over there. Force of Will, Brainstorm, Liliana the Veil.
Not a lot to do with this hand. Counterbalance is the most threatening card, but that's not an option with the second copy in hand. And Tickal with no way to remove the first copy.
I think I just want to take Rest in Peace, I guess. Swords is reasonable, too.
Tickal's hand right now is not very graveyard-centric. I mean, there is a Deathrite Shaman, but the rest of the hand is, Force of Will and Liliana the Veil. I think Rest in Peace is just a little too mopey to take right now.
Okay. Basic Island here from Zhao.
Source of Plowshares is just kind of good. I think it's a safe card to take in this spot, especially if you're just going to follow up with Deathrite Shaman anyway.
Spin in the top. A couple of Brainstorms in there. Here is a Brainstorm. 2 Brainstorms, and it looks like Entreat the Angels the draw.
Really hunting for land number 3. It looks like Zhao was able to find a Tundra.
Pass that turn back. Over to Tickal. Vision's down to 2. Verdant Catacombs the draw. Could get to work with Liliana here.
His hand doesn't have a lot else going on, and he's got an easy discard to hand here with the forest. Although I suppose...
Yeah, not as easy as you think.
I suppose discarding the forest is a little sad because then Blood Moon is really problematic, but Zhao has no Blood Moon in hand from what you saw on the Thoughtseize last turn, and no red mana. And Tickal has Force of Will. Maybe he's willing to run that risk.
I think that's what he's thinking about right now.
You can see there was definitely a, It looked like a very good spot to cast Liliana. He did it very quickly, and then the implications of what the discard would mean meant that he slowed up.
Perhaps he played the wrong land that turn.
Yeah, especially if he was committed to using the Deathrite Shaman anyway to generate mana.
Yeah.
And at that point, you just play the forest and tap the swamp and the forest and the Deathrite Shaman to resolve your Liliana plus and discard something else.
Looks like it's going to be a brainstorm in response to the Liliana activation of both players having to discard a card. Appears some miracles are going to go back on top of Zhao's deck here. Brainstorm done resolving. And now Liliana will cause some discarding. There goes the forest and a counterbalance. To Zhao. Upkeep spin. Doesn't want to play the Terminus just yet. Just going to draw a random card instead, which is a Flusterstorm. Now a Ponder. Underneath 6 minutes here.
Mountain there is step one for Zhao. Now Blood Moon is live, and Tickal does not have a forest remainder of the game. There are some lands in the graveyard to work with, although now that's no longer the case. There's Rest in Peace. Now, Tickle's still with Force of Will, but you can kind of feel the stress on his side. Blood Moon is becoming more and more of a possibility.
Jace Vryn's Prodigy is weird here.
That's just going to get discarded.
Okay, yeah.
That's just going to get discarded.
All right. Deathrite going to come across for one.
Players, pairings for round 2 are now being posted.
Zhao is going to spin the top.
Standing or pairings for round 2 are now being posted. Please find your seats.
Counterbalance time, maybe? Yep. Getting the locks in place. Though Liliana does make this stuff a little weird. It's going to be a counterbalance. Oh, excuse me, it's going to be a Force of Will. Removing Brainstorm on the counterbalance. Now here's Brainstorm. Terminus, Entreat, X. Pass turn back. Vision's going to resolve. So Tickal will reload. Notion Thief among those cards. Interesting.
Has his Wasteland, as his Creeping Tar Pit. A lot of good options. Unfortunately, all of them kind of commit his whole turn.
Yep. Terminus discarded. Verdant Catacombs discarded. Wasteland will take care of the Tundra. I think that's going to cut Zhao off of white mana. Here comes Deathrite Shaman.
What I like about this is Zhao's made a number of plays here that are kind of representing setting up some sort of large miracle. So cutting Zhao off of white seems very valuable.
Agreed. Tarpit number 1, he just drew another one. Liliana's going up. There goes Tarpit number 2. Here comes Deathrite Shaman number 1. Zhao gonna fall down at 15. Spin that top. Counterbalance among those cards. Counterbalance looks like it might be the play this turn.
And Tickal threatening to go ultimate here. Liliana the Veil next turn.
Looks like Zhao's just going to pass the turn back. Doesn't want to play counterbalance. Now, we saw in the previous game Tickal get very aggressive with Tar Pit, just firing up and getting in there consistently. You got an opponent out there with no white mana for Source of Plowshares, the red mana for Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast, so some things to work into the equation.
I would just go ultimate with Liliana as the first order of business, I think. And see if there's any sort of response.
Going to start by attacking with Deathrite Shaman. Now here's an ultimate. Gonna spin top. Top activation on the stack. If an opponent will draw a card except the first one he or she draws in each of his or her draw steps. As that player skips that draw and you draw a card. So Notion Thief's going to work its way into the equation with top here. I think that's what Tickle's trying to set up.
Yeah.
Start a 5-turn clock. Judges, please find an open bench.
Because I think the reason that Zhao is making a move here is the most likely split on the Liliana is just lands against spells. So Zhao would just prefer to have a Sensei's Divining Top not destroyed in all of this, because Zhao probably just has to keep the 3 lands that are in play. But this might just, I mean, there was already a warning given for
22 players in this event for 7 rounds of Swiss.
Yeah, a little bit
mechanical
earlier.
issues.
Yep.
Welcome to round 2 of 7. You have 50 minutes. You may begin.
So it looks like the library's going to be shuffled. Now, we'll get the exact ruling on what's taking place here. So was drawing extra cards here. Drew before the opponent had a chance to respond, assuming that just he was going to get to draw a card with top.
Right.
Yeah. That's awkward. Yeah.
Now we know. Now everyone knows.
Yeah.
Now there's no secrets.
Yes. So card will get shuffled back in.
What's the new ruling is coercion in spots like this?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Sure. Whatever.
Yeah.
Close enough.
And now Tickle's going to sacrifice. Counterbalances the card left in hand. What a mess.
Kind of crazy to me that we can just coercion someone as a way to resolve drawing extra cards, but if someone writes Lightning Strike instead of Lightning Bolt on their Legacy deck list, it's a game loss.
And they're banned from Magic forever.
Does anyone want to speak up about the inconsistencies that rule represents?
Here's Notion Thief. We're going to get a top spin. This is in response to Notion Thief. So now a card is drawn. Top goes on top. Now, this top is going to draw a card, except for Tickle gets to draw it.
And now the Liliana Ultimate resolves, I think.
Yes. And now, yes, now the Liliana Ultimate needs to resolve. So now Tickle needs to split some permanents. A fun turn.
I think this is either Island against Mountain Rest in Peace or Mountain Rest in Peace against Island.
So one of these two?
I think the worst card in play by far is the Rest in Peace, so I would prefer to pair it with an Island.
Sure. Because
the Island's more valuable than the Mountain. It's close either way, but I like Tickle split here. I would just split it the same way.
All right, there we go. It's all fixed. Sort of. Counterbalance the draw.
Sweet mercy. We are moving along.
Oh, there's a Pyroblast. And now a Sensei's Divining Top. Brainstorm and Liliana in hand here for Tickle. Picked up a copy of Polluted Delta.
Please just start attacking. I don't know if it's right. Just please just start attacking.
No, there are graveyards now. So Deathright's worked its way to the equation again. Here comes Here comes the Tarpey. Yeah, Patrick is really clamoring for an attack here.
Seen enough.
Boom, in for 3.
Love it.
There's a Delta past the turn back, threatening a Deathrite Shaman activation. Spin the top, Will Zhao. Draw a card. Spin it again. Draw a card. Plains. Top. Go ahead. Crack a Delta, Will Matthew Tickle. We'll get a Deathrite Shaman activation to drain Zhao in just a moment, I believe.
Sensei's Divining Top is a horror show.
Yeah.
It is a nightmare without end.
Wait till I have a feature match with it and you're commentating.
I cannot wait.
I'm gonna put you in life's hard lock.
Yeah, I know.
I might just forget every turn what my top cards are, just so you can be a part of it. Looks like it's turn 1 of extra turns. Will we get a conclusion to the match? It's unclear. Abrupt decay of the draw here for Tickal. He's also got a Brainstorm in hand.
So I don't believe there are any instants or sorceries in the graveyard right now.
That is
on
correct.
either side. So Tickal may need to brainstorm and find a land so he can animate the tar pit and be able to activate Deathrite Shaman for 2.
I've got some interest in that.
Me too.
I might also be fine with Tick Up Liliana, discard the Brainstorm.
Yeah, that's also acceptable.
It's a little wild.
But at least that way you lock in the activation.
Yeah. Just going to attack, put Zhao down to 5. It's turn number 2 of extra turns now. Entreat Jace Flusterstorm. None of those are helpful. Tickle's just got to make sure he actually gets this game over with.
Well, he's on pace. You know, one removal spell complicates things quite a bit.
There's another top. Well, Tickle cast this Brainstorm on end step. I just want to cast Brainstorm just to get an instant or sorcery into the graveyard.
Yeah, I would have done this. I think your plus Liliana play was reasonable. I think I would have probably just brainstormed on the main phase. Regardless, he just needs to do it now.
Yeah. Just get one of those relevant types into the graveyard. Turn 3.
And this is lethal now.
It is lethal, yes. Thought sees the draw. You know, the only fear that Tickle might have here is that there's a Swords looming.
Yeah, the
on top of the deck.
The other way that Tickle can and try to do this basically is cast the Charlotte's Agent and pass, activate Deathrite Shaman, and then you have lethal from 2 directions next turn, the Creeping Tar Pit and your 2 creatures. But he might be giving up a kill this turn by doing it.
Yeah, that's the real concern here is it's just, it looks so innocuous. There's just one planes available, but that represents Terminus and Swords. So he's actually got to think about, can I just fire up Tar Pit and go for the W here? We know that on top of Zhao's deck, it's all garbage.
I don't think Tickle can win inside of turns against Terminus regardless, because he needs to attack. He basically needs to attack twice or spend his entire turn animating Creeping Tar Pit. There are ways he can beat Swords to Plowshares.
Yes. It is a tough decision, though.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
And the cards in Tickle's hand don't really play a role in things too much. Outside of that Charlotte's Agent. It looks like he's considering activation.
I think the calculus here is if Swords to Plowshares is up on the top, then he cannot win the game inside of time. If he does it this way, he can beat Swords to Plowshares.
Charlotte's Agent into Ancestral Visions, draw 3 cards.
Deathrite Shaman activates and knocks down to 3, and then you have multiple lethal attackers.
Yep.
So this is a better play if he's worried about Swords to Plowshares. The risk is Zhao just gets another turn, and who knows what that yields. That could be a lot of cantripping. That could be an opportunity to find the Terminus that Tickle can't beat inside of time. So that's the decision that Tickle's made here. He's playing around Swords to Plowshares in the top 3 at the expense of whatever Zhao can do with the next turn.
Zhao can't win, but can draw. Draw a random card. Turn 4, spin the top, see if there's a Terminus here. That's the big one. Two, third card. Not Terminus.
I mean, there's no way to shuffle the deck. This is a dead end.
Yep.
Nothing to be done with the other tops.
The only thing that Zhao can kind of try to do here is maybe bluff around and trick Tickle. That's all that's left.
The problem is that it's going to be turn 5 of turns. So.
I'm right there with you. I'm just saying that's the only option. Deathrite Shaman activation.
There's only one spot in the game where it's definitely wrong to bluff, and it's turn 5 of turn.
Turns, yeah.
Whatever, Zhao might as well sit here and let the game play
He's
out.
got nothing else to do.
Right, but I think Tickal is going to go for it.
I've seen plenty of players outthink themselves in situations like this, but I agree with you that it's hard to do on turn 5 of extra turns. There's a delta. Liliana's going up. Time to discard. There goes the Thoughtseize. Zhao discards Flusterstorm.
I think right now Tickal is just trying to see if there's anything that can be done about Terminus. And
No.
in fact, no, he can exactly do this.
Okay.
If he abrupt decays the Divining Top, Zhao is forced to do Terminus right now, and then the Creeping Tar Pit's left over.
Yep.
So this is very sharp.
He can play around it all.
Yeah.
Draw a card, sure. And that's going to do it. Matthew Tickle's going to win this match here over Tianyi. Zhao. Tickle with Charlotte Sultai takes care of Miracles. He moves on to 10-1, and maybe we see a Tickle Eric Hawkins matchup here. Who knows?
That'd be a good one. Two friends who've been traveling a lot together trying to get to the Players' Championship. This is the first Open of the entire year where both of them have been making a deep run.
Yeah.